Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's visible, Ayush.
So is the green creating a problem with the green screen?
No, it's all right. Yeah. All right, so hi everyone. I'm your host Sirvani Reddy, and I have with me Ayush Anand, and a very warm welcome to day 3 of the Green Switch. It is great to see so many of you tuned in, and thank you all for joining in. And we truly hope that you enjoy day 3 of the Green Switch as much as the previous days, if not more. And Ayush, you can take over from here.
Yeah, so very good evening to all. Ayush, on behalf of the Tears of the Earth, we welcome you to the last and the concluding session of the Green Switch. Green Switch is a 3-day long conference held with the sole purpose of educating the people to be more mindful about their plates, to choose responsibly, and to hold forward the beacon of the beacon of a cleaner and a greener and a safer diet, with keeping in mind all life as we stand as our brothers. And as during the course of this 3-day event, Dr. Shailesh Rao and all our esteemed panelists have pointed out, to become from the wise human to Homo Ahimsa. Homo Ahimsa as the people who treat everybody with compassion. So without further ado, for the very last time in a session of 4 days, I would like to give a small introduction of what Tears of the Earth is all about. Tears of the Earth, being true to its name, is an organization that works towards a common goal, that's the prosperity of the planet Earth. The initiative aims to tap and refine immense potential of children, younger generations, to make them robust and potential for a greater good. We involve in and encourage cleanup drives, rallies for climate protection, and bring research and development among reach of aspiring savers from the planet. The Green Switch is a joint initiative by the Crying Species, an initiative run by the TOE and Swadhyay Youth Organization, which looks at vegan diet through the lens of science. We believe that it is the first step towards a cleaner and a wholesome diet. Green Switch aims to empower the individuals with the right tools to switch over to a greener, sustainable food choice. Savani, I would want you to take over and introduce your organization, Swadhyay, and I guess they deserve the introduction from you because you've been our leading inspiration in terms of being a vegan yourself and conducting this event with full force.
Thank you so much, Ayush. So, hi everyone, I'm Sirvani and I'm representing Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is a youth led and change oriented collective which aims to promote environmental conservation, human and animal rights, inclusive education, and justice for all. At Swadhyaya, we work towards creating a resilient global network of young people working at grassroots levels so that our fight against issues like climate change do not remain isolated and become a part of a larger global movement. So, before we dive into today's topic, we have a very interesting and very short video to show you. So, on to the video.
Still doing the same thing as 10,000 years ago. Thanks to the Industrial Revolution, we are producing much larger quantities of food than we used to, but we are also putting far more resources into producing food than we used to. As a result, water levels in the world's largest aquifers are falling faster than they're being replenished. Our underground supply of phosphorus, a nutrient critical to plant photosynthesis, will be exhausted in a few hundred years. And we're using up the very ground itself, since soil blows and washes off of our fields 50 times faster than it forms. We can extend the life of these inputs with resource-saving techniques like precision farming and technologies like gene editing. But it's likely that no amount of retrofitting our 10,000-year approach to farming will make it work for billions of people for the next 10,000 years.
5 billion cattle and roughly 1 billion pigs and sheep. That's a lot of mouths to feed, so we've transformed Earth into a giant feeding ground. 83% of its farmland is used for livestock, for example as pasture, and to farm fodder crops like corn and soy. That's 26% of Earth's total land area. If we include the water we need for these plants, meat and dairy production accounts for 27% of global fresh water consumptions from fodder crops end up in the meat we buy in the end. Cows, for example, convert only about 4% of the proteins and 3% of the calories of the plants we feed to them into beef. More than 97% of the calories are lost to us. To create 1 kilogram of steak, a cow needs to eat up to 25 kilos of grain and uses up to 15,000 liters of water.
Into reality.
देसी खाद और दवाइयाँ बीज के साथ मिलाई जाती हैं।
रासायनिक तत्व पीने के पानी को जहरीला बना देते हैं।
Farmer unions claim close to 100 farmers have committed suicide.
One village in Punjab, there are 1,000 widows.
उधर हरियाणा तो जमीनी पानी का पद्धर लगातार बैठा जा रहा है।
Stubble burning.
पंजाब में 2000 और 2015 के बीच में 16,600 किसानों ने आत्महत्या की। इसके अलावा वहाँ 2008 से हर रोज 17 लोगों की कैंसर से मौत हो गई और हर साल भारत में करीब 7 लाख बच्चों की मौत कुपोषण से हुई।
चारा और जीवाणु थे वो धीरे-धीरे खत्म होने लगते मिट्टी के।
अब जब ऑर्गेनिक मैटर कम हो जाता है सॉइल में तो उतनी ही फसल के लिए और भी ज्यादा केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर डालना पड़ता है। इंडिया में सबसे ज्यादा सब्सिडी यूरिया पे मिलती है, जो कि एक नाइट्रोजन बेस्ड केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर है। तो घटती सॉइल फर्टिलिटी और लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस की वजह से इसका बहुत ज्यादा ओवरयूज होने लगा। यूरिया के ओवरयूज से जमीन में न्यूट्रिएंट्स का इम्बैलेंस हो जाता है।
The video will resume in just a minute. There's some glitch in the background voice. Just a second.
So in the meanwhile, let us know if you attended the last few sessions and if how you found them. Did you fill the feedback forms? Did you enjoy the polls? Did you enjoy our speakers speaking? By the way, Dr. Shailesh Rao's video is on YouTube. You guys can go and check it out. And yeah, we'll wait for things to resume.
You muted, Sarvani. You're muted, we can't hear you.
I'm so sorry, I was on mute. But yeah, so please do. Okay, I think the video is on now.
1,000 years ago. Thanks to the Industrial Revolution, we are producing much larger quantities of food than we used to. But we are also putting far more resources into producing food than we used to. As a result, water levels in the world's largest aquifers are falling faster than they're being replenished. Our underground supply of phosphorus, a nutrient critical to plant photosynthesis, will be exhausted in a few hundred years. And we're using up the very ground itself, since soil blows and washes off of our fields 50 times faster than it forms. We can extend the life of these inputs with resource-saving techniques like precision farming and technologies like gene editing. But it's likely that no amount of retrofitting our 10,000-year approach to farming will make it work for billions of people for the next 10,000 years.
5 billion cattle and roughly 1 billion pigs and sheep. That's a lot of mouths to feed, so we've transformed Earth into a giant feeding ground. 83% of its farmland is used for livestock, for example as pasture, and to farm fodder crops like corn and soy. That's 26% of Earth's total land area. If we include the water we need for these plants, meat and dairy production accounts for 27% of global fresh water consumptions from fodder crops end up in the meat we buy in the end. Cows, for example, convert only about 4% of the proteins and 3% of the calories of the plants we feed to them into beef. More than 97% of the calories are lost to us. To create 1 kilogram of steak, a cow needs to eat up to 25 kilos of grain and uses up to 15,000 liters of water.
Into reality.
देसी खाद और दवाइयाँ बीज के साथ मिलाई जाती हैं।
रासायनिक तत्व पीने के पानी को जहरीला बना चुके हैं।
Farmer unions claim close to 100 farmers have committed suicide.
In one village in Punjab, there are a dozen widows.
ਉਧਰ ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਮੀਨੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਪੱਧਰ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਹੇਠਾਂ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ।
Stubble burning.
पंजाब में 2000 और 2015 के बीच में 16,600 किसानों ने आत्महत्या की। इसके अलावा वहां 2008 से हर रोज 17 लोगों की कैंसर से मौत होती है और हर साल भारत में करीब 7 लाख बच्चों की मौत कुपोषण से होती है।
जा रहा था और जीवाणु थे वो धीरे धीरे खत्म होने लग गए मिट्टी के अंदर।
अब जब ऑर्गेनिक मैटर कम हो जाता है सॉइल में तो उतनी ही फसल के लिए और भी ज्यादा केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर डालना पड़ता है। इंडिया में सबसे ज्यादा सब्सिडी यूरिया पे मिलती है, जो कि एक नाइट्रोजन बेस्ड केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर है। तो घटती सॉइल फर्टिलिटी और लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस की वजह से इसका बहुत ज्यादा ओवर यूज होने लगा। यूरिया के ओवर यूज से जमीन में न्यूट्रिएंट्स का इम्बैलेंस हो जाता है। नाइट्रोजन, फॉस्फेट, पोटेशियम फर्टिलाइजर्स का आइडियल कंजम्पशन रेशियो 4:2:1 होता है। अब ज्यादा यूरिया के इस्तेमाल से 2018 में पंजाब और हरियाणा का एनपीके रेशियो आइडियल से 8 गुना ज्यादा पाया गया। इस इम्बैलेंस से जमीन की फर्टिलिटी और कम हो जाती है और फिर किसानों को हर साल और भी ज्यादा केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर डालना पड़ता है। 1970 में 1 केजी फर्टिलाइजर के इस्तेमाल से 13 केजी अनाज निकलता था। 2005 तक ये गिर के 3.7 केजी हो गया।
ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਦ ਪਾਉਣੀ ਥੱਲੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਮਿੱਟੀ ਦੀ ਉਪਜ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਘਟਣੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਆ।
अब क्या हुआ, हम विदेशी खाद के बिना फसल नहीं होगी।
और इसी वजह से इंडिया में फर्टिलाइजर्स की कंजम्पशन बढ़ती चली गई है।
एंड द ग्राफ ऑफ यील्ड इज कमिंग लाइक दिस, ऐसा गिर रहा है क्योंकि आपने मिट्टी को पोल्यूट कर दिया और एट द एंड ऑफ इट यील्ड का मैजिक इनने प्रीसीड में डाला, बट द रियलिटी इज द सॉइल। सॉइल में फर्टिलिटी नहीं है तो आपको कहीं से यील्ड नहीं आने वाला है।
ऊपर से ये केमिकल जमीनी पानी में भी चले जाते हैं और उसे प्रदूषित करते हैं। WHO के हिसाब से आइडियली जमीनी पानी में 50 mg पर लीटर से कम नाइट्रेट होना चाहिए। पंजाब के कई इलाकों में नाइट्रेट की मात्रा 100 mg पर लीटर से भी ज्यादा है। हाई यील्डिंग वैरायटी सीड्स का सबसे बड़ा नुकसान ये था कि इन्हें इस्तेमाल करने के लिए एकल फसल प्रणाली यानी मोनोकल्चर करना पड़ता है।
अगर मैं एक्सटर्नल इनपुट दे रही हूँ, मेरे को फर्टिलाइजर देना है और मैं 5 तरह के क्रॉप्स उगा रही हूँ, तो एक क्रॉप के लिए वो ठीक होगा, दूसरे के लिए ठीक नहीं होगा। इसलिए मुझे मोनोकल्चर बनाना पड़ता है। केमिकल्स के लिए मुझे मोनोकल्चर बनाना पड़ता है।
अगर प्रकृति को देखें तो वो कभी एक चीज नहीं उगाती है, हमेशा बहुत अलग अलग चीजें साथ में उगती हैं प्रकृति में। क्योंकि अगर प्रकृति सिर्फ एक ही चीज उगाएगी और उसमें कोई कीड़ा या बीमारी लग जाएगी तो वो पूरा खत्म हो जाएगी वो चीज। तो जो ये एकल फसल प्रणाली है उसमें चांसेस ज्यादा हैं कीड़े और बीमारियां लगने की, और कीड़े बीमारी लग जाए तो फिर वो सारी फसल बर्बाद हो सकती है। तो इसीलिए किसानों को कीटनाशक या पेस्टिसाइड, इंसेक्टिसाइड जिसको बोलते हैं, उसका इस्तेमाल करना पड़ता है फसल को बचाने के लिए।
अब पेस्टिसाइड्स का क्या है कि किसान ने अगर एक टाइप के कीट को मारने के लिए कोई पेस्टिसाइड डाला तो 90% कीट तो मर जाते हैं, मगर जो 10% तगड़े कीट होते हैं वो बच जाते हैं और उन पे वो पेस्टिसाइड काम करना बंद कर देता है। अब ये 10% बढ़ के 50 हो जाते हैं और फिर किसान को कोई नया पेस्टिसाइड खरीदना पड़ता है इनके लिए।
कि इसको टेक्नोलॉजिकल ट्रेडमिल के नाम से भी जाना गया है कि किसान दौड़ता जा रहा है, वहां प्रकृति भी दौड़ रही है, किसान उसके आगे दौड़े जा रहा है, प्रकृति दौड़ रही है, किसान आगे दौड़ रहा है। पर कब तक दौड़ता रहेगा किसान और किस कॉस्ट पे दौड़ेगा?
अब जाहिर सी बात है कि अगर इतने पेस्टिसाइड्स यूज होंगे तो उसके कुछ तो कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस होंगे लोगों की हेल्थ पे। मतलब पंजाब में तो इतने पेस्टिसाइड्स यूज होते हैं कि वहाँ के पानी, खाने और इनफैक्ट लोगों के खून में भी हाई लेवल्स ऑफ DDT और लिंडेन पाए गए हैं, बोथ ऑफ विच आर नोन टू कॉज कैंसर।
समर्स में जाके देखो आप, पंजाब के गांव में ही, स्ट्रीट्स में ही RMP डॉक्टर्स ही खाट लगा देते हैं। आदमी स्प्रे करके आया पूरा दिन, शाम को उधर आ गया, सलाइन लग रहा है उसको, नेबुलाइजर लगा हुआ है, सांस उसकी ठीक होती है, मजदूर है बेचारा, ठीक होती है सांस, आधी रात तक घर चले जाता है, सो जाता है, अगले दिन सुबह जाके फिर वही स्प्रे करनी है उसमें।
1978 की एक स्टडी के हिसाब से पंजाब में गेहूं के आटे के 140 सैंपल्स में से 124 में डीडीटी और 116 में लिंडेन पाया गया। उसके बाद 1980 में रिसर्चर्स ने 75 न्यू मदर्स के ब्रेस्ट मिल्क सैंपल्स एनालाइज किए, जिसमें से हर एक सैंपल में पेस्टिसाइड्स पाए गए। इन सैंपल्स में सेफ कंजम्पशन लेवल से 18 गुना ज्यादा पेस्टिसाइड्स की मात्रा थी और इसीलिए इंडिया में पंजाब का कैंसर रेट सबसे हाई है। देयर आर 90 कैंसर पेशेंट्स पर 1 लाख पीपल कंपेयर्ड टू द नेशनल एवरेज ऑफ 80। ऑल्दो हाई यील्डिंग वैरायटी सीड्स ट्रेडिशनल वैरायटी से 2-3 गुना ज्यादा फसल देती है, मगर उनको ट्रेडिशनल वैरायटी से 3 गुना ज्यादा पानी भी चाहिए होता है। ट्रेडिशनल गेहूं को 500 लीटर पानी चाहिए होता है 1 किलो अनाज के लिए और हाई यील्डिंग वैरायटी सीड्स को 1500 लीटर से 60 फीट होता है। पंजाब में कई जगह 200 फीट तक गिर चुका है।
करीब 112 ब्लॉक्स जो है पंजाब के 132 ब्लॉक्स में से वो डार्क जोन में चले गए हैं, यानी कि उनका पानी 3rd लेवल एक्वीफर से भी कम हो गया। तो आप और गहरे कुएं खोद रहे हो, पानी आपको मिल नहीं रहा, तो उसके ऊपर खर्चा आता है आपका। एक कुआं खोदने के लिए ही करीब 5 लाख रुपया लग जाता है आजकल। अब करीब 1150 करोड़ यूनिट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पंजाब खर्चा करता है इस पानी को जमीन से निकालने के लिए। 438,000 टन ऑफ कोल, इतना कोल हमारा हर साल हम जला रहे हैं ताकि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोड्यूस करें। 1/4 उस कोल का फ्लाई ऐश बन जाता है जो हवा में उड़ता फिरता है। और वो हम फ्लाई ऐश में क्या क्या होता है? टॉक्सिक मेटल्स होते हैं, यूरेनियम, मरकरी, क्रोमियम, आर्सेनिक, सेलेनियम। और ये हवा कहाँ गिरती है? ये जो मेटल्स उड़ रहे हैं हवा में, ये धरती पे गिरती है, तो धरती पोल्यूट हो रही है आपकी।
ग्राउंड वाटर एक्सट्रैक्शन और केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर्स के इस्तेमाल से हमारे कार्बन एमिशंस भी बढ़ गए हैं, जिससे क्लाइमेट चेंज और भी तेजी से हो रहा है। इंडिया के टोटल कार्बन एमिशंस का 18% एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर से ही आता है।
We're pretty much still doing the same thing as 10,000 years ago. Thanks to the Industrial Revolution, we are producing much larger.
Can we pause the audio? Yeah. So here we have, there's a short clip demonstrating how agriculture and how the increasing use of mechanization, pesticide has led to an increasing health hazard. So over to you, Sarvani, for introducing the first guest of our evening. And yeah.
So as you all saw, that video very wonderfully threw light on the topic of the day, which is sustainable agriculture and the future implications of what it can possibly, what the future of it could be. And so without any further ado, let's call upon our esteemed guest of the day, Dr. G.V. Ramanjanelu. He has an amazing, brilliant profile, and I'm just going to share that with you right now, so you'll be as mind blown as I am just looking at it. So he's the expert director at Sahaja Aharam, a producer company. He has done a PhD in agriculture from Indian Agricultural Research Institute in New Delhi. He has worked in the Indian Revenue Service as well as the Agricultural Research Service, and his focus of work mainly lies on working on public policy issues impacting food systems and farmers' livelihoods and a framework to ensure income security for farmers. He is working with farmers in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh in establishing ecologically and economically sustainable agricultural models. He is also working on building a community marketing system, Sahaja Aram, which links farmer cooperatives directly to consumers. He's also working on building community enterprises, open source seed systems, as well as he's also a resource organization supporting programs of the state and central governments. He's currently working on Government of Andhra Pradesh, working with Government of Andhra Pradesh and promoting natural farming with Society for Elimination of Poverty and Telangana, with the Maharashtra State Livelihoods Mission, Northeast Rural Livelihoods Project in building the capacities of the staff and organization involved in the program. He's working with NABARD, NABARD, in supporting establishment and strengthening of over 300 farmer producer organizations in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. He initiated Kisan Mitra to improve last mile delivery of all support services and governments. He started Grameen Academy, which runs regular courses on agroecological approaches, farmer produce organizations, and rural business enterprises, public policy for agriculture. So he has won several awards, some of which include the Navanakshatra Sammanam Lifetime Achievement Award, the Badshah Khan Memorial Award, and many more. He's even won the World Bank Development Marketplace Award as well. He is the author of several books and articles on sustainable agriculture and public policy, and he's a 3-time TEDx speaker. So if I keep talking about Dr. G.V. Ramanjanalu, this session is going to go on forever. So like, my, what a brilliant and inspiring profile. Without any further ado, let's invite Mr. G.V. Ramanjanalu onto the stage, and really hope to, for him to share his valuable knowledge. Please, sir. And if you have any questions to ask him during his presentation, please type it in the chat box, as we'll be having a question and answer session later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope you can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for the introduction, it's my privilege to talk to you about our own learnings and experiences, and then how we see future for sustainable agriculture. One of the key challenges we are facing now is the ecological crisis. The major crisis we are facing is the ecological crisis, where, as rightly mentioned earlier, it's about the groundwater, depleting groundwater levels, erosion of topsoil, disappearing tree cover, and reduced biodiversity. Across the country, we are seeing this. In fact, a report which was released by ISRO a couple of weeks back shows that nearly about 45% of the land is unfit for cultivation, and most of it lies in the rain-fed areas. And for the modern agriculture, in the name of modern agriculture, what we could invent is only about irrigation, and the moment we start irrigating, people shift towards paddy, and then the whole crisis starts building up. So we are getting into a kind of a vicious cycle of agriculture, which depends on high water, high energy, and high chemicals. I think that causes huge ecological crisis, pollution, and it also is bringing in a lot of economic crisis. So there's an increasing cost of cultivation because you are depending on external inputs, and returns are not increasing because the prices are not increasing. And also in a situation where the public support for agriculture is going down, and there is an increase in the living costs, farmers end up in net losses. And we are seeing that the indebtedness is increasing across the country. And the last week report of National Sample Survey shows that more than half of Indian farming population is highly indebted. And then a household debt has increased to nearly about ₹1 lakh per household. So in the last 7 years, when there was a target of doubling the farmers' income, we are actually double the indebtedness population, the farming families who are indebted, and we have doubled the indebtedness also. So I think that's what we have created in the last several years. So the key challenge now is how an agriculture model can address economic crisis as well as ecological crisis. I think that is something which one need to look into. On the top of that, we also have the social crisis, where India is a home of small and marginal farmers. We have about 83% of the farmers. So 54% people depend on agriculture, and in that's nearly about 83% are small and marginal farmers. So small and marginal farmers' livelihoods have to be addressed, and more so when many of them are tenant farmers, because the land ownership still remains with the landlords, but the farmers who are cultivating don't have any access to productive resources. So how that can be addressed is something which is very, very critical. Farmer suicides is a serious issue. In the last 25 years, more than 3.5 lakh farmers have committed suicide, and then there's a social burden. The whole youth not having employment, and grassroots and the village level growing unemployment is a serious problem. And there is no minimum safety nets also for farmers. While all these three issues are becoming very, very critical over the last 20-25 years, in the last 10 to 15 years, another major issue came up is the climate crisis. We also need to understand how agriculture contributes to climate change as well as gets affected by climate change if we are looking at sustainability. So we need to move towards more regenerative agriculture which can sustain itself. And when we look at agriculture and climate change, Agriculture is also one of the significant contributor of climate change. So about 19.6% of the greenhouse gas emissions are from agriculture, in which actually the methane and nitrous oxides are very, very critical. Methane and nitrous oxide is about 78% methane, and 84% of the nitrous oxide emissions are from agriculture. So there is a great mitigation potential if we make a transition in agriculture. At the same time, we also the transition will also help for adapting to the weather vagaries. So I think that's a key thing. So it has both adaptation as well as mitigation potential. And particularly the methane and nitrous oxide emission and their impact on environment is not much talked about. We only talk about carbon emissions, and then most of the discussion goes around that. So we need to understand this methane and nitrous oxide emissions, and then how do we address that. And then the crops, livestock, forests, water bodies, they're all affected. And then we have seen the irregular floods, droughts, irregular rainfalls. So we have seen how the prolonged droughts as well as increasing density of rain is causing floods across the cities, towns, and villages. So we need to take an alarming, we are in an alarming situation, and then we need to take an immediate step. So what we can do is about reducing emissions. I think there should be a clear focus on reducing all factors, all practices which contribute for these emissions. So which means actually moving towards an agriculture which is low on energy, low on chemicals, low on water. I think that is something which is very important. And then we need to have a land use policy and then land cover to protect the land cover and the forest cover. I think we should also stop big dams. So it essentially calls for low water intensive cropping systems, because today the area under rice, area under wheat, and then area under sugarcane is increasing alarmingly. Cotton. So these four crops occupy nearly about 60% of the crop area, and these four are highly water intensive crops. So I think we are increasing area under water intensive crops, and then because of that, you are also constructing more dams, and then there is a vicious cycle. I'll take an example and also explain what is the issue around this. And then we need to also switch over towards more cleaner energy. At the same time, since the small and marginal farmers are the ones who are seriously affected with this climate change, we need to also have bigger plans for adaptation. So that we need to bring up, and then we need to look at how the livelihoods of the small and marginal farmers can be addressed. And today, the entire plan which governments have, either state or center, has is only about covering risk with an insurance. And the insurance reach today is only 30%. Crop insurance reach is only 30%. So unless we focus on reducing the risk in agriculture, just having a risk cover as insurance will not work. So we need to have a comprehensive risk management system. So risk management system includes two factors. One is about reducing the intrinsic risk in agriculture. Second is addressing the vulnerability of the households. So why a particular household is becoming more and more vulnerable. So we need to address that. So this calls for change in the cropping patterns, change in the production practices, and diversifying the assets and income sources for the families. Because today, if 83% of the farmers have just about 1 hectare of land, the income is not sufficient, and then they tend to go for intensive production. By intensive production, I mean it's not cropping intensity increase, but it's a input intensity. So by increasing the input intensity, again, there's a serious problems which they are facing in. So we need to make a transition in terms of moving towards increasing cropping intensity, getting into integrated farming systems, at the same time reducing the input use. And we also need to focus on conserving and efficiently using the natural resources like soil and water. There is a significant erosion which is happening on these two fronts, and biomass becomes very key. So have a major plan of organizing biomass. And in India, one of the key factors we need to understand is we have a large number of small farmers. So individually addressing their problems or solutions is not going to happen. So we need to collectivize them. So building farmers institutions becomes very critical. So farmers, cooperatives, and then helping farmers to move on the value chain is something which is very, very important. Also, we need a livelihood security systems. So because the risk is increasing, we need to have livelihood security system. Yeah. And coming to the food relationship with the environment, so we need to worry about, as a large population, if you look at we are not even worried about what food does to us, but we also need to worry about not only on what it does to us when we are consuming it, but we also need to worry about what food does to environment and to the farmers who have produced it before it comes to your plate. So the food and its relationship with the environment, if you look at the ecological footprints, is something which we all need to worry about. What food has done to the environment, and then what is the ecological cost of food we are consuming, and then what are the residues it is leaving. I think that is also very, very critical. What is the residues it is leaving, and what are the residues it is carrying with it? So both affect us significantly, and then the waste which we are generating. So when we are looking at this, already there was in the video it was shown, the ecological footprint of rice is something which we need to worry about, because today nearly about 50% of the crop area in the country is under rice, 50%. And then it is increasing, and it is increasing. And India has a very bad habit of growing rice in a ponded standing water cultivation. When we got independence, nearly about 54% of rice cultivation is rain-fed. But today, 100% is under deep water, so irrigation. So this transition, which has happened in the last 50 to 60 years, increased the consumption of water. And if you know how much water it consumes per acre, it takes nearly about 60 lakh liters. So 60 lakh liters per acre translates to about 5,000 liters per kg of rice. So if you are consuming around 200 grams of rice a day, a family of 5 is consuming about 1 kg of rice in a day, which is equivalent to about 5,000 liters. 5,000 liters is equivalent to a water tanker. So imagine every day you are consuming in the form of rice a tanker of water. And what is the cost of a tanker of water? And how much you are actually paying for that? If you look at from that point of view, it is our consumption behavior also has to change. Unless we make a change, it's not going to help. At the same time, we also need to worry about and also adopt and push for practices which reduce water use in agriculture. And so in rice cultivation also, water use can be brought down significantly. There are a number of practices which showed that in rice, water consumption can be brought down by over 60 to 70%. And in fact, the word paddy comes from water stagnation. So the paddy is a land where water is stagnated. Rice doesn't need so much water. The way we are growing rice, because we want to have water to manage weeds, so that's how more water is used. And then since government procures only rice, more farmers grow only rice. So and then more for consumers eat rice. So obviously there's a more market for rice. More area is growing under rice. So this serious problem need to be addressed. Just to give you a comparison, what it means for 1 acre of rice cultivation. Like I mentioned, it takes about 60 lakh liters of water. You might have seen recently trains carrying water to Latur when there was a drought a couple of years back, and then to Chennai last year. And these trains carry about 5 lakh liters. 5 lakh liters. You need 12 such trains to irrigate 1 acre of land, 1 acre of rice. 1 acre of rice, to grow that, it's about 12 lakh liters, 12 such trains you need. So that's the amount of water we are using. And 60 lakh liters means about 100 families annual domestic water consumption. So we need to worry about this significantly. And by switching over to this kind of paddy cultivation, there is also many vicious cycles of that. So when we move towards more water intensive crops, we build more dams. More dams means more displacement. And water stagnation also causes methane emissions. So nearly about 17% of methane emissions in India are from dams only. And particularly states where there is no gravitation dams possibility, like Telangana and many other states, now there is a shift towards lift irrigation. And the more we shift towards lift irrigation, or more we shift towards groundwater depletion, you need more and more energy. And then that more and more energy, either it has to come from burning of coal or burning of fossil fuels. And once these are over, you may have to switch over to the nuclear energy. So all these have pollution and significant impact on the climate. And at the same time, when there's a change in the climate, and then the impact is largely on the small and marginal farmers, and their livelihoods are further getting affected. So when people are sacrificing and then getting displaced to get more and more water, and who are actually getting benefited today, if you look at, we are producing so much rice, it's nearly about 3 times what India is consuming. So what we consume in a year, if you look at from that point of view, we are producing nearly 3 times. And then what are we doing it? We are exporting it. So when we are exporting rice, you are actually exporting livelihoods, you are exporting labor, you are exporting water, and then it's a stupid plan. So the transition from rice, encouraging rice in production, procurement, has to change, and the entire research investment in this country, more than 60% of the 60 to 70% of the total investment in agriculture goes to rice itself. So unless we change all these, it's not going to work. We made a simple calculation. I think this can give you a right perspective. Telangana, this is the state of Telangana from where I come from. In the last 7 years, there is an increase of nearly 4 times the area. We have 4 times the area, which is compared to what we require. And then nearly about 218% of the area increase we have seen in the last 7 years. And the carbon emissions, carbon equivalent emissions. So if I calculate methane, nitrous oxide, and then their equivalents to carbon emissions, and then put it together, it's nearly about 100,000 metric tons of carbon emissions, which comes every year from Telangana state. 100 million metric tons. So it is, what does that 100 million metric tons means? 100 million metric tons means it is equivalent to the nearly about 21 million cars traveling for a year. 21 million cars traveling for a year. And in India, we have about 300 million cars. So it's about nearly 1/10 of the total cars in India. If they travel for 1 year, the amount of pollution in terms of carbon emissions which it creates is created by just paddy cultivation in one state. And which is, again, it's not a big state, it's a small state. And you can imagine what is happening across. And many times whenever we talk about this pollution, the immediate solution which is talked about is plant trees. So you plant trees so that plants absorb carbon dioxide, so we increase green cover. So how much green cover is required to absorb these 100 million tons of carbon emissions? If you look at from that point of view, it is about nearly 16.53 crore trees. 16.53 crore trees which absorb these carbon emissions for over 10 years. That's the amount of carbon emissions we are talking about. And then if you calculate the entire area under forest, it's just 1/10. So to absorb the carbon emissions from Telangana, probably we need entire South India to be converted into a forest. That's the kind of pollution we are causing by adopting such practices. Again, this issue also was brought up about the stubble burning. So I just picked up Telangana example. Now let's look at stubble burning in Punjab. What we are trying to do in Punjab is rice wheat system was promoted in immediately after independence. We felt we need to become self-sustainable. So focus was only on rice and wheat, and then the yields were increased. And then entire procurement was done. But later on, the area under rice and wheat in other states also started going up. But the focus was only on Punjab in terms of procurement. Today, there is about 100% procurement happening from Punjab and Haryana. And this has economic impact on the state and also economic impact on other states. Because since the entire procurement happens in Punjab and Haryana, other states are not procuring. And then whenever farmers are asked to make a transition, it's the inability of the farmers because the entire support systems are all around rice and wheat. And if they have to make any transition from rice and wheat, there is no support available. So in the absence of support services, if farmer have to make a transition, it's serious problem. And as a result, rice and wheat continues to be the major crops grown in Punjab and Haryana. And since the groundwater depletion started happening, there's a ban on sowing of rice happened in Punjab till June 15th. So till the onset of monsoon, there is a ban on sowing of rice. As a result, the gap between rice and wheat also started decreasing. So today we have about just less than 30 days in this month. So in this month, we have less than 30 days between rice harvest and then the wheat sowing. As a result, you cannot remove the stubbles because again, the machines which are used are huge machines. They cannot remove stubble, they can only cut. And the leftover stubbles are burnt by the farmers. And then the pictures you are seeing here are the stubble burning pictures. So this is called Asian cloud, where there's a dark clouds which get affected because of this pollution. And then there's a Delhi which gets affected. Even the daytime you can't see, the visibility comes down to less than a meter. And if 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres is burnt is fine. But if there's about 1 crore acres where there's a burning happening, it's a serious problem which need to be addressed. So this can only be addressed if there is a transition again from rice to other crops. Apart from the cropping systems, there's also issues about what is used in production. So it's about the pesticides, fertilizers, GM crops, antibiotics, hormones. So all these which are used in production comes back into your food, and then they have significant impact on environment. And if you look at from a government support point of view, the entire public investments are all around this. So they promote only pesticides. They don't talk about alternative for pest management. They only subsidize chemical fertilizer. They don't support organic manure, or they don't support farmers to make transit towards organic fertilizers. And then entire research investments are all made on genetically modified foods. And entire livestock is built on antibiotics and growth hormone. So when your entire agriculture support systems are pushing for wrong practices, this is going to continue. So unless we make a transition here, transition is not going to happen. So farmers cannot shift on their own. And that's one of the reasons we are seeing a lot of economic distress. And this economic distress is caused by a skewed agricultural policy, certainly, and this is creating problems for the farmers. And two important factors which need to be addressed is the low access to assets. So people who own land move to urban areas but still own land. And in the last 25 years, when we look back the data, people who are buying agricultural land are the non-farmers. So they're buying it because it's an asset. So it is becoming from a productive asset, it is becoming an investment asset. So agricultural land is all becoming an investment asset. As a result, people who are actually cultivating are suffering because they're tenant farmers. And in India, we don't have a mechanism of identifying tenant farmers or extending any support services to the tenant farmers. So credit is not available, insurance is not available, any of the income support policies are not available. As a result, they suffer. And agriculture by itself being unproductive, and then the prices are kept deliberately lower, incomes are also lower. So today the entire agitations which we are seeing, the migrations which we have seen, all these are result of the economic distress in agriculture. So if you look at from an economics point of view, in the value which a consumer pays, less than 85% is captured by the market supply chain, and less than 15% goes to the producer. And then this risk, if you calculate, the highest risk is in production, and there only 15% of the value goes, and 85% actually goes for the processing, storage, branding, packing, and then sales and distribution, and then the retail end. So the economic model also has to change. Just to give you an example, if there is if farmers have to, if we calculate the red gram, tur dal 1 kg, if consumer is paying about 90 rupees, farmer gets 40 rupees of that. And this is the best, I'm talking about the best scenario, farmer gets about 40 rupees, and then the rest goes to the middleman. And if the farmers can be organized into collectives, and then in the 90 rupees, farmer share can be increased to about 53%. 53 rupees. So we can increase the share, and whatever profits FPO makes also, the cooperative makes also, farmer can get. So as a result, it's about 53 to 54 rupees is what farmer can make. So by collectivizing, and also by making a transition towards organic production, you can increase the price of the produce also, so that your net share can go up. So from 53, you can go up to 60 rupees. So this is a transition which is required in this country, and all support services have to be organized around this one. I think that's something which is important. Also in India, since we are all, like I mentioned, small and marginal farmers, even if we have to move towards ecologically sustainable practices, you need a landscape approach. And then that landscape approach can come in only by collectivization. So both for economic benefit as well as ecological benefit and social good, collectivization is very important. So that transition is something which is need to be adopted. So what we try to do is we pick up farmers, train them. We work with nearly about 1 lakh farmers, 1 lakh farmers nearly. In fact, more than 1 lakh farmers, and then 250 farmer cooperatives in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra, and Sikkim, Nagaland, Manipur, and Tripura. These are the states where we work. And in all these states, what we do is we pick up master farmers. So we train farmers and then they become master farmers. They run farmer field schools and then support farmers to make this transition. And they are organized into cooperatives and then we link them to market. So that's the approach which we take. And when we are talking about approaches, I'm not getting into the details, but there are a lot of myths about production practices. That is something which we need to look at. Not all traditional practices are good. So we need to make a shift, certainly. So how do we bring in modern science also into picture is something very important, because whenever we talk about alternative practices, organic farming, natural farming in this country, there's a divide in terms of one extreme talking about going back to 1,000 years old practices or 100 years old practices. And there's another extreme which talks about chemical agriculture, which is again 60 to 70 years old. So neither works. 60 years old science or 1,000 years old practices are not going to solve your problem. We actually need to move forward. So we need to address the future problems. We need to use the current knowledge. I think that's what is very, very critical. And second, very important is when we talk about agriculture, it is based on local conditions. So either our analysis about problem or solution from a Western point of view is creating a serious problem. So when we talk about productivities, when we talk about external input use, or when we talk about even about livestock, I think we need to change our perspective in all these things. So an integrated approach to farming is something which is very important. We need to move towards, I'll quickly run through some of these practices which we promote and then we follow. So water harvesting is something which is very important. And all our cropping systems should fit into the amount of water we receive by all means. So the rainfall and the groundwater we need to budget, and then based on which only we need to look for a cropping pattern. So at a village level, at a district level, and at the state level, we need to have water budgets which need to be produced. And then based on which actually cropping pattern has to be decided. Today, all incentives are to use more water, and very little incentive is to improve your water use efficiency. For example, Punjab, we were making a study on stubble burning recently, and annual subsidies which farmers gets is more than ₹1 lakh. It's about 1,20,000 rupees farmers in Punjab gets. And at the state level, if you look at it, is nearly about 14,000 crores, and in which nearly about 8,000 crores is a power bill, so power subsidy, and nearly about 6,000 crores is a fertilizer subsidy. Unless these two changes, and then you incentivize less use of water. It's not about giving free power so that you can use more of water. So that transition is something which is important in the public policy. And at the farm level, every farmer should be encouraged, and then probably we should make it mandatory that water should not be let out. And every drop of water which falls on the farm should sink inside. So I think that's a whole focus we need to bring in. And we have done a large experiment in Andhra Pradesh where even moisture harvesting is possible if we go for a cover crops. So if you can have a cropping system where cover crops are extensively used, you don't need to even irrigate, and crop can absorb from the moisture available in the atmosphere. So atmospheric humidity can convert itself into moisture, and then that is sufficient for irrigating the crop. So providing water for the crop, that is something which we could
Sorry
see.
to interrupt, sir.
Yeah. Another 5 minutes, please. Another 5 minutes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So another important issue is about adaptive cropping patterns. So multiple cropping systems, we need to move on from a monoculture. Certainly that is something which is important. And why people go for monocropping is not just for, not because of the use of chemicals, but it is also because of the lack of understanding. So we need to actually bring up new extension support services so that it can make a shift. Similarly, soil management, like I mentioned, we need to focus on improving the soil. So soil is an important, and it should be seen as a national resource. And then public investments into this is something which is important. Similarly, on the seed systems, today we only have focus on GM crops or a very narrow range of improving the productivities. There's a wide genetic base which India has. We can exploit that, and then we can create a significant value if we can move towards that. Similarly, on the chemicals, without using chemicals, it's quite possible to manage the crops. We have demonstrated it more than 30 lakh acres in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, and then we could bring down the pesticide use by over 50%. And there are a number of examples like that across the country. It's not that it is not possible, only that there is no political will from the government where this is happening. And this is something which is very important. We see livestock as a problem. From an Indian point of view, Indian ecological point of view, Indian ecosystem point of view, if you see, we don't have the factory production of livestock in India. It's actually a recycling system. So livestock are part of an recycling system. So don't see and don't bring in the calculations which we always bring in as a ecological footprints of livestock. India, we need to recalculate the whole system, whole life cycle analysis of livestock as part of agriculture. It will give a very different picture if you make a calculation from an Indian context. That is something which is very important. It is also an important part of the diet, and it continues to be. So I think that is something which is important. And to make a policy shift, so the current policies are all supporting the conventional agriculture, which is creating the problem. So we need to move towards investments from government, which makes it supportive towards agroecological approaches. We need to shift towards family income-centric approach and then livelihood security approach. Transition is required in education and support services, then only it can sustain. But if the colleges, agriculture universities continue to do the same thing, if all subsidies continue to do the same thing, and if we expect farmers will make a transition, it's not going to happen. And then one of the major missing link in the whole thing is building accountability and in the governance. So what is the accountability of the governance systems in this country? We always blame farmers that they're doing all this wrong, but what happened to the policy? What happened to the investments made in promoting this kind of agriculture? And one of the last point I want to make is there will be a transition happening towards organic farming in these countries. Certainly it's going to happen globally, and then India also will move. But will it benefit the small and marginal communities is something which is important, or it will become just a fad of few urban consumers? I think that is something which is important. So we need to focus on economic resilience of farmer community, which will come in from an improved soil health, water conservation and efficient use, biodiversity conservation, and establishing a reciprocal system between all these systems. Yeah, I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was an amazing presentation. And it blew my mind, like the facts about the rice, the water consumption that rice has. And, we all need to be very mindful of the choices we make, and accordingly, the changes that need to be implemented. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time for the question answer session, even though we would love to ask you so many questions. So thank you so much. So I was indeed very, very great.
Probably you can send me the questions. I can get back.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. We'll be sending you all the questions we have, because we have tons of them. And thank you so much, sir. It was great having you here. Ayush, you can take over. Ayush, you're on mute.
Yeah, moving on. So first of all, I would like to engage the audience in a very small and interactive poll to clear, as we believe in the last 3 sessions we have, a very commonly held misconception. The poll will come up on your screen shortly, and you can answer it and we can go ahead from there. Okay, so yeah, so the poll will stay on for a couple of minutes. The poll will close at 7:04, and we'll head for the next part of the event. So moving on to the our next speaker. Next we have Dr. Rupa Shah, publisher, director, and an allopathic medicine doctor who has done intensive research in natural remedies, therapy, and holistic healing. She turned vegan 14 years ago and experienced health transformation so deep that she wanted to share her knowledge with us all. Dr. Rupa aimed to bring together thought leaders to spark an internal revolution. With this dream, she co-founded the Ahimsa Parmo Dharma group. The group organized India's first and largest vegan festival since 2016, the Ahimsa Festival. She has founded a publishing house, Circle of Health, and a JITO Digital Women Warriors Award winner. Circle of Health has published a series of books like Dairy Alternatives, What About My Calcium, and India's first vegan print publication, Compassion India. She has most recently launched a health consultation, The Kitchen Doctor. We are delighted to have you, ma'am. It's an absolute honor to have you on our panel. We'd like to end the poll, and in the meanwhile, we'll have ma'am on the screen to share her beautiful and insightful journey with us.
Thank you very much for introducing me. I hope you can hear me.
Ma'am, your voice is
yeah.
a little
Can you
low.
hear me now?
It's a little low.
Yes. Yeah. Just do let me know if I am not heard properly or something. So, how much time do we have?
Ma'am, it's fine. You can take about 15 minutes.
Sure, sir. So I'll keep it very short and straight. So it was so interesting to hear Dr. G.V. Raman because see, mostly the doctors don't hear, farmers. Doctors and farmers have to talk. Farmers provide food and doctors are not connected to food these days, for healthy lifestyle and healthy living. So I think we will all have to sit on one platform and then come up to a solution where, we all become healthy. So soil health is equal to human health and is also equal to the health of the planet. We all know that healthy family is truly wealthy. Particularly in this pandemic time, we definitely know that it's no amount of money get us healthy.
Ma'am, so sorry to interrupt. Your voice is pretty low, so we can't.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's a lot better.
Much better? Okay, so I removed my headphone and now I'm talking. So no amount of money can buy, health. We truly have to become healthy from our lifestyle and what we eat. So what is a lifestyle disease? So I want to give you a very quick, short introduction. These days, we have lots of unhealthy food. We have very sedentary lifestyle, and there are lots of chemicals in our food, which is making us very sick. And we all succumb to some or other lifestyle disease. What are the common lifestyle related diseases? Here is the list of all the diseases like metabolic syndrome, obesity, diabetes, blood pressure, higher cholesterol. And you see that most senior citizens are taking prescription medicine for one of these conditions or more of this condition. So these are all common, actually, lifestyle related diseases. So you all know that someone in your house is probably taking a blood pressure medicine or a diabetes medicine or a cholesterol lowering medicine. What is metabolic syndrome X? It is a syndrome of collection of various conditions that are put together and is labeled as metabolic syndrome X. Your entry point can be, say, blood pressure, and later on you can pick up all other diseases. Or say you may have entry point as diabetes, or say entry point as obesity as the first thing, and in about 10 to 20 years you have the complete mixture of prescription for all these diseases, and this entire thing is together called as metabolic syndrome X. Now, is it possible to live a life without any medicines? These days, we have become very pharmaceutical dependent society. We see more and more pharmacies opening around our residential area, and they have customers who take some or other medication almost lifelong. So they have these customers and they have the business. So is it possible to get rid of all this medication and live a life without any medicines? So let me just quickly tell you my life-changing story about, I'm a doctor for about 37 years, basically an allopathic doctor. And I was always doing lots of natural therapies and natural medicines. But about 15 years ago, I attended a workshop where I heard about diet and connection with our diseases. And one of the things that was asked was to give up dairy products. I said, all right, it looks quite extreme. I'm a vegetarian and to give up dairy would be too much, but let me give it a try. So I gave up dairy products for 30 days and a sort of miracle happened. I used to suffer for migraine headaches 18 years. All these completely stopped once I gave up dairy products. I had no aches and pains. I lost extra weight. I had no acidity, lots of energy in my body. I was overwhelmed. What is wrong with dairy products? I thought this was food. This was supposed to be a healthy food. We ate. It was so integrated in a household. What's wrong with the milk product? And that's when my vegan journey began. I started studying all about the causes of disease. So suppose if there's water leakage in your house, will you start wiping the floor, or you will go and find out where the original source of leakage is and then stop it? Well, that's the correct method, right? You will go and find out the original source and then stop it. That's what exactly I'm going to come to. What is the root cause of disease? All the medications that are prescribed right now are only into management of disease. None of these are addressing the root cause of disease. So we have to go and find out the exact cause of disease, and then the disease will go away. So I asked you the question, is it possible to live a life without any medicine? Yes, only if you find out the cause of the disease. And once you find out the cause, you also have to work on it. So why so all the doctors keep telling us that these diseases are lifelong? They put a rubber stamp and they say that, you have to take the medicine lifelong. They are not curable. That's because of the pharma industry, which is very powerful. They keep doing their marketing. The farmers who are growing food with chemicals. You already heard in the earlier lecture, these chemicals are related to our ill health. Then there are doctors and hospitals who are also prescribing a lot more chemical medicine. And because of that, we remain ill because we are not looking at the cause of the disease. Our educational institutes, our medical colleges also keep telling us that these diseases cannot be cured. And finally, media, newspaper, TV, internet, everywhere, it is said again and again to us that these diseases are not curable. And because of all this propaganda, all of us think that you have to die with these diseases. So modern medicine, this is the model where you have all kinds of doctors who are looking at a human being and they're looking it into parts, different parts of your body seen by different doctors, and nobody is seeing it as a one human being with various diseases. So it's a very linear model, and we are interested in a holistic model where mind, emotions, and body with all organs and all systems are to be perceived as a holistic one unit and also treated as a one unit. So what are the mistakes that are actually made by we invite these diseases? So obviously it is the diet, stress levels, and exercise level. These are the three major causes that are directly linked to all the lifestyle related diseases. This is from Hippocrates saying that let food be thy medicine. And this is what exactly I'm going to tell you about. So if the diet is wrong, then medicine is of no use. And if diet is correct, then medicine is of no need. This is an ancient Ayurvedic herb and proverb, and this is the one that I am talking about. If you have the correct diet, your lifestyle, your exercise, everything is corrected, then there is absolutely no need for any medication. You can live a life without any diseases. I have real life stories of various diseases of so many of my patients who reversed their type 2 diabetes, and that too very quickly. Some of them were on insulin, some of them were on tablets, some of them were sick for maybe 15 to 20 years, and they reversed it in just a few months. And these stories are very inspiring. There are patients who have reversed their high blood pressure and have stopped their medication forever. There are patients who can stop their hypothyroid medication. High cholesterol, that's the easiest and the fastest one to get the result. Knee arthritis, totally reversed. PCOD, these days we see it in the young girls. And all this is happening by changing the diet and lifestyle. Also, the heart disease can be completely reversed by following a very good healthy lifestyle. We also have high uric acid. This also can be reversed very quickly. Here is a small chart that is showing a whole food plant-based diet. All these cases were treated with what is called as plant-based diet. That means no animal products, only the food comes from the plant kingdom. So here we have all the grains, we have all the beans and lentils, all the vegetables, all the fruits, and then seeds and nuts. All these are called as whole food plant-based diet, and we can choose our food from this. And this is the diet that was given to them, and this is how, when they followed it properly, all the diseases gradually went away and we had to stop the medication. Now, what are the various diet myths that are going on these days? Quickly, I will tell you some examples. Milk is must for calcium. I'm sure you have heard about it. Oil is important for joints. Vegetarian diet is not enough for proteins. People who eat eggs and meat are stronger. These are various myths, that we have. Fasting will make us weak. Eating lots of sweets give us diabetes. Or eating every 2 hours and small meals is healthy. Or we should drink lots of water once we wake up in the morning. Or say calorie counting is very important. Or Sunday you eat junk and Monday onwards you start eating healthy. These are the various myths. Now, what are the diet mistakes that we are making and are falling sick? First and the foremost for the vegetarian is, of course, the dairy products. So quickly, here is a poster that says what is in the glass of milk. When a glass of milk comes on a table, we usually see moms running after small children with a glass of milk and making them drink. Add some sugar, add some chocolate, and somehow, even if they don't like it, make them drink. But here is what is there in a glass of milk with lots of pus cells, antibiotics, pesticides. Milk is no more, a health food. The next one, of course, there are A1, which is from the Jersey cow. All these are linked with various diseases. Then, if our body is going to eat that which is not suitable for our health, then what will happen? This is pretty much like if your car runs on diesel, will you put petrol? Of course not. If you put it, then your engine won't work. So we have to eat the food that is aligned to our health, our physiology. Any food that keeps us healthy is the one that's going to prevent the disease or reverse the disease. And that's where we have to align our life, our kitchen as well. Our construction material for our home, we always be so choosy. We will select the best of the materials. It's pretty much same for our body. We must select organic. We must select that which is plant-based. And that is going to build a very healthy body. So there's a very simple question that I have here that says, is your food eating you or you eating food? If you eat junk food, your food is going to eat you up. That's going to make you sick. Quickly showing pictures of some of the famous people who are following plant-based diet. Bill Clinton reversed his heart disease and he's on a plant-based diet. He's the man who ate lots of junk food, lots of animal-based products all his life. And then finally, when the heart disease was so bad, he went back to plant-based diet and reversed it completely and living a very healthy lifestyle. We have Novak Djokovic, who is winning titles after titles and has remained on a plant-based diet and one of the best in the world. That proves the point that all these athletes are doing extremely well on a plant-based diet, and you don't need animal food or any animal products to build up your strength. These two girls, Serena Williams and Venus Williams, are raw vegans. And look, they are winning titles. Patrick Babonium is the strongest man in the world. He can lift up 1.5 ton at a time. This man is on a plant-based diet. Then we have also these athletes, Mike Tyson, Torrey Washington, all these are also on a plant-based diet. And look how healthy they are. Our own Indian boy, Kuntal Joy sir, has climbed Mount Everest twice and also on a plant-based diet. We have Siddharth Shukla, who is an Ironman, also on a plant-based diet. We have all these animals. These are very large animals. They are all vegan. They all eat plant-based diet. They don't need any animal products. And look how strong they are. We have very good books on this subject. This is the one that I read 14 years ago. It's a kind of a revolution called as China Study, written by T. Colin Campbell. And this book has changed the world. This book has all the data that doctors want to know why on a plant-based diet. Dr. John McDougall, who is doing this for 40 years, he has written many famous books and he has helped many people reverse all these lifestyle-related diseases on a plant-based diet. Then we have Dr. Neil Barnard, whose program we follow also in India for reversing diabetes. Is doing extremely well all over the world. Dr. S.S. Stein has written the book for reversing heart attacks. Then we have Dr. no, he's not a doctor. He's John Robbins. John Robbins is the man who was supposed to be the heir to the ice cream empire called as Baskin Robbins. And he decided to give up that completely and give up the entire dairy industry and write these books, Healthy at 100 and the Food Revolution. And he's the one who is talking that, dairy products are not good for health. It's amazing to know this. So John Robbins, keep in mind, and they also conduct Food Revolution summits on internet where you can listen to all those podcasts. Then there are books written by these doctors, Dr. N.K. Sharma, Milk, a Silent Killer, available on Amazon. Do read it and it will open your eyes. What's wrong with dairy products? I have written this very simple book called as Dairy Alternatives, which is how to make soy milk or almond milk or coconut milk or how to make dahi. Or we all Indians love all this. So I thought, let's just write a book and help people to switch over and make these things at home. So these are available in 3 languages, also on my website. This is Dean Ornish. He's also following plant-based diet, and he's written various books and also helping people to lose weight and reverse heart disease. There is a website called as nutritionfact.org by Dr. Michael Greger, which is one of the largest database of nutrition articles, all supporting plant-based diet and lifestyle, plus lots of videos, and a fantastic book called as How Not to Die, where he has discussed every disease and how you can reverse it on a plant-based diet with a proper peer-reviewed research data available. There's absolutely now no question. Once you read this book, you will change. On CNN, there's a wonderful documentary film called as No More Heart Attacks by Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who talks about how to reverse heart disease on a plant-based diet. It's a beautiful film. In India, we have Dr. Sarvanan, Dr. Pramod Tripathi, Dr. Nandita Shah, Dr. Pawan Wadhwan, Dr. Rashmi Menon, and 15 more doctors who are already on a plant-based diet now and are big advocates and are helping people. I already know 7 more ophthalmologists who have become vegan and are helping their patients also on a plant-based diet. We have Shri B.V. Chauhan Sahib, who is also a big promoter of Nature's Diet System, NDAs, which is all on plant-based diet. And then we have all these different films available on internet. Most of them are free to watch. The really fantastic ones are Earthlings, Cowspiracy, Fork Over Knives, Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. Do watch them. The biggest one that came out just 2 years ago, it's called as The Game Changers, where there are world famous sports personalities who are vegan. It's a fantastic film. This film has helped people go vegan literally overnight. Once you finish seeing the film, you know that you have to now, go vegan. There's no other way. And some more films like What the Health and Plant Pure Nation. Just do have a look at them. They are all life transforming. There is a series on reversing diabetes and obesity by John McMahon. He's also reversed his own obesity and diabetes. Then I have a kitchen replacement chart. Get into your kitchen and make it healthy. Change dairy to dairy alternative. Stop tea and coffee. Stop white sugar in your kitchen. Don't get maida. Change the salt to unprocessed salt like sea salt. Stop the refined salt. Stop refined oil. Try and use minimum oil or just say cold press oil. Soft drinks, please don't take. Ready-made cereals, not necessary. Meat comes with lots of problems. Eggs, not at all required. Fried foods, not good for health. Salad dressings are loaded with lots of junk. Canned foods, not required. Chocolates, just use very sparingly. That's it. This is the And of course, all our Indian sweets are loaded with junk. So change your kitchen and make it very healthy. I tell people to change the kitchen and change the household. A little simple diet plan and breakfast, just have green juice or smoothie, lunch, fruits or some roasted snacks, and dinner. A very simple plan: breakfast, something green, a fruit, lunch, dinner. Maybe some of them can have breakfast as just fruits, and this will be a very simple plan, and make it just plant-based. And this is a very, very simple, sustainable plan that helps people reverse their various lifestyle-related diseases. So here it is. I usually say no tea, coffee, so just have a herbal drink or something. You can have roti, oil-free parathas, dalia, upma, dosa, idli, or muchia, any of this simple Indian breakfast. You have your green smoothie or juice. You have roti, sabji, that is very simple. Have non-dairy curd or raita or buttermilk, add salad. Then evening you can have something for munching like roasted chana or peanuts. Dinner can be very simple like khichdi or soup or curry, which is again non-dairy curd. And if you want to end your day with some nuts, oh, that should be more than enough. So this is a Sanskrit saying that says that yatha pinde tatha brahmande and yatha brahmande tatha prinde, which means that whatever is in the universe will be in your body, and whatever is in your body will also be there in the universe. There's a direct link between your outside and your inside. We are not separate. The air we breathe, the water we drink, everything is connected, and we can never escape. So we have to pay attention that it's not about just cleaning our own body, but we have to start working on cleaning our planet, cleaning our environment, be a very responsible citizen. Also on a plant-based diet, be careful on your vitamin B and vitamin D level. I usually tell people to take sun bathing every day, and every few months, 6 months or so, once in a year, make sure that you check these, and if required, take some supplements initially. Later on, you don't need them. So food is the problem and food is the solution. This is what I would like to say, that food is extremely important. Pay attention. We all have an inner doctor within us. We already don't need any external doctor. If our lifestyle is very aligned, then this inner doctor is our friend, will always look after us. We all have our own inner healing power. So saying something more on compassion and ahimsa, let the animals on this planet live, and we should live. Let us be their friends. Let us be their custodians. They are our fellow travelers. Let us be compassionate to them. If we harm them, we are not going to get happy. We are not going to get healthy. Let's stop our exploitation of animals for anything. No food and no personal accessories and no other products coming from animals. Ahimsa is the way for this planet, for our health, for our environment, and for animals. So if you want to save the earth, start your journey for vegan lifestyle. Now the whole world is going vegan. Here are the people who have lost weight, have become healthy. You heard Vijay Joshi, who reversed his diabetes more than probably 12 years ago. Pradeep Bhai, he reversed all his diseases and he's helping people all over now. So finally, friends, what is more important, your life or your tongue? Just for a few seconds of some taste, you want to put on your tongue some food which is not healthy, is going to cost you your life. So finally, pay attention, just give up on that few seconds of happiness and pay attention to your life. And actually speaking, as I'm on a plant-based diet for 14 years, honestly, plant-based food is a lot more tasty, a lot more sustainable. It's not addicting, and it's so aligned and healthy. So in summary, whole food plant-based diet, daily exercise of any kind, time to sleep well. Please don't compromise on your sleeping hours. Time to pray, meditate, and reflect, time for nurturing relationships, digital detox, get rid of all your gadgets on and off so that you have peace and space. Fresh air to breathe, go out in the garden, park, in the company of trees and breathe fresh air. Cultivate some good hobbies for recreation. Never stop learning about new things. That's the one that keeps us young. Even at 94, my mother-in-law wants to learn a new recipe. And then we are so impressed by her enthusiasm that she doesn't give up on life at 94. So we should have that enthusiasm to learn new things. We must learn to give back to society, because whatever we give actually returns back to us only. In whatever way we can give, we should always pay attention and start giving. And of course, have the deep faith in the universe to provide us, and have gratitude every single day for whatever we have been receiving so far. And I always say forgiveness and letting go of all the garbage in our own emotional life and become a free light being on this planet. This is the way forward.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, this was entirely comprehensive, totally all-encompassing, and a complete new outlook of life that has inspired many of us. I believe all of us, most of us will give that extra push towards turning vegan, towards going green, towards adapting all the necessary changes in the lifestyle that we need to do to become a healthy individual. So really, unfortunately, we would like to have like so many questions. The presentation was so comprehensive and complete, but due to a very strict time constraint, we would like to know from the audience what their queries are, and we'll mail it up to you, and we'll sure get back to them with all your answers. I'm really sorry to the audience for any queries that they wanted to ask and they could not ask right now. Moving on, we have to give the answers of the poll in a very short, brief, and crisp way. So can we bring up the poll, please? Shift to an organic is not a threat to food security. 91% say false, 8% say true. To answer this question, I would like to have again on the panel Dr. G.V. Ramanjanelu, who his insights in sustainable agriculture will surely help us understand that this what this question is all about, and how what is the real fact behind it. Sir.
That's true. Many times the argument against organic is that yields will come down and then there is a threat to the national food security. Like I mentioned in my presentation also, already we are producing a lot of food. So what we are producing is more than sufficient for meeting our food needs for more than a year. Actually, a couple of years we can have food even if it is not produced. But why hunger remains in this country? I think that is something which is important. We need to understand that is mainly because of the economic disparities. So we need to focus on that rather than running behind a yield increasing model. And then organic, shifting towards organic is not a threat to the food security. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very correctly put. Moving on, I would like to invite our green activist for the day, Kuhu Goyal. Kuhu Goyal turned vegan in September 2018. She is an active volunteer with the Animal Rights Organization and the Vegan Outreach India program. She spreads awareness about in the interconnection of animal exploitation, environmental degradation, provides solution for a sustainable and peaceful future. She is also a polyglot. She is fluent in about 4 languages and knows a total of 6 languages, including French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, English, and Hindi. She has completed her master's in public administration and her bachelor's in political science. So, and there's a very interesting fact that I would like to highlight for the audience. For all those animal lovers in our audience, Kuhu has a chicken as her pet in her office. So we would like to know from her what is her experience with animals and how friendly. So you can look at the picture, and I'll be a very it's not wise if I go on talking about it. So I would like to have Kuhu Goyal on with us. Welcome, ma'am. The stage is all yours.
Thank you very much, Ayush. That was a very pleasant welcome. And thank you to the Crying Species for providing me this platform to talk to you all. It's a pleasure. I'm really honored to get a platform to share my insights or to share my experience since the day I have turned vegan and listen to such prominent speakers and get their insights as well. So I'll keep my I'll keep my conversation very short and to the point. So the thing is that I was a vegetarian. Actually, I was an vegetarian before, but then I left eggs because I had a very emotional sort of experience in my kitchen with related to eggs, and since that day I just thought of not eating eggs at all. But I didn't know about the ethical aspects of dairy as well. I got to know about eggs, but I had no idea what's actually wrong behind the dairy. So it was something interesting is that I turned vegan in 2018. It's in September itself. So this September I turned I'm celebrating my third vegan anniversary, you can say. Yeah, so it's been 3 years now, and I am so glad I was introduced to this lifestyle and this way of living. So I turned vegan in September 2018. And the moment I turned vegan, I was just sitting in my room and I came across this video on YouTube, which is named Deadly Dairy. So by Animal Equality, the channel's name is Animal Equality, and they've uploaded this documentary named Deadly Dairy. So I just watched that and I was in tears. I had absolutely no idea how horrible dairy is and what exactly, is done to the animals before we get all those dairy products, and what's the ethical dilemma behind dairy. So the moment I learned the truth, I turned vegan overnight. I just thought of doing away with all the dairy products, and not just the dairy products. I realized, with time that consuming or using any sort of animal product is wrong, because all animal products come from suffering, come from animal abuse, animal cruelty. So since that day, I just completely turned vegan and started replacing all the non-vegan products, all the dairy products with their plant-based alternatives. So for ghee, I have vegan ghee. For milk, I have vegan milk. So any sort of dairy product, I just replace it with its plant-based alternative. And since the day I turned vegan, I just had it in me that I have to connect with any organization or just any person I can come across who can just guide me, or with whom I can just collab and spread the word about veganism. And that's how I got connected with this organization, with this NGO named Vegan Outreach India. And in October 2018, I did my first ever vegan outreach along with them. So I volunteer as an animal rights outreach activist. So I volunteered with them, and I did my first ever vegan outreach in my own college, Miranda House, when I was doing my bachelor's, and in 2018 October. So it was a lovely experience, and people are it's just that people don't know about what's exactly wrong behind consuming animal products. They know that it's not like they're deliberately choosing to cause violence or deliberately choosing to cause suffering to the animals. It's just that they don't know what's exactly behind these products, animal products. So since then, I've been visiting to different colleges, different schools, or different just organizations, and doing vegan outreaches. And it's such a blissful experience, because it's always a pleasure to talk to people and learn from them as well, like how connected they feel, or just experience that change in their behavior once they learn the truth about animal cruelty, or once they know the truth about how healthy it is to be on a plant-based diet. And just like Dr. Rupa shared her experience of how she felt so much better after ditching dairy, it's the same with me. I used to suffer a lot with cold and all those things, and the day I left dairy, I felt so much better. It's just that my cold and so many other problems just went away. I feel so much lighter. It's so nice when you experience it yourself. You feel like, why didn't you went vegan, or why didn't you went plant-based earlier? So it's such a blissful experience. And if any of you need any sort of help regarding your transitioning, or if you need any help to transition to a plant-based lifestyle, you can contact me. Like, my email ID is kuhugoyal1@gmail.com. You can contact me anytime. I'll be very happy to share any resource I can with you. there are so many programs. Even the NGO I volunteer with, Vegan Outreach India, they have their 10 weeks to vegan program, in which they provide you with all the resources which you need, all free of cost. There's no charge, absolutely no charge, all free of cost, and they'll help you to transition to a plant-based lifestyle. Also, just like Dr. Rupa in her presentation talked about Dr. Greger. He's really an amazing doctor, and he has done an amazing work in this field of, in the research of plant-based diet. So I would just like to share this app with you. It's in Play Store. It's named as Daily Dozen. So if you download it, it will keep a track. It will show you different recipes. It will show you what all you need to take on a daily basis to keep your nutrition requirements completed. And just you can just tick on, okay, you had water, this much water, okay, you had grains, okay, you had vegetables, okay, you had seeds, okay, you had your B12 supplement, whatever it is. So it's a really nice app, and you just go and you'll find yes.
I'm so sorry, what's the app's name again? I want to know.
Yeah, Daily Dozen. You just download it. I love that app, and it has a lot of resources. It has recipes too, a lot of information about these plant-based products as well. So it's absolutely free of cost. It's Daily Dozen. It's of Dr. Greger only. So it's really nice, and I really encourage you all to download that. And since then I've been doing. And also the thing is that I was so passionate. I am so passionate about it that I just thought of taking any opportunity I get to do this outreach. It doesn't have to be, you have to just connect with someone and then only do your animal rights activism. You can just make use of your social media. Or for example, in my master's, I had to write some research papers. So I took help of this opportunity and wrote 2 research papers. One was about the comparison of different diets on the and their impact on the environment and its impact in the Indian context. And the last one, the last research paper of mine was all about animal cruelty, how animal cruelty takes place, unfolds in the Indian context as well as on a global context, and what impact it has on human rights as well. So we must understand that animal rights and human rights are very much connected. We can't ignore either of them. We can't really attain that peace or attain that goal of non-violence without addressing either of them. So both are equally important, both are equally necessary. So yeah, it's just that it's been a bliss, and I just wish to continue like this and inspire people, or just get inspired by other vegans on how to make this journey more blissful. And you'll feel really better once you switch to a plant-based diet. You feel better because, and then it also just helps you to know more about how you can contribute towards a more sustainable lifestyle. So getting introduced to veganism introduced me to many other things, to like how to live a sustainable life by replacing plastic or other things which are environmentally damaging, but have but we do have alternatives which we can make use of. So it's just that getting into veganism exposed me to many other good movements and good habits. So I'm really thankful. I just wish, I guess it's with everyone that whoever goes vegan says that, why didn't I go vegan sooner? So I guess it's just with everyone. And the picture you guys saw of Chick, he's Rex. His name is Rex, and the egg industry is really violent. In fact, the egg industry in India, the egg facilities, their operation is, you can compare their size and their operation to the developed countries such as US. So it's not like India. We can have that understanding, that in India it might not be as worse, or it might be as violent, but it's equally the same. The facilities, the operation, on the scale on which it takes place can be compared to the developed countries. So in the egg industries, male chicks are crushed to death. They are burnt. They are, drowned to death because males cannot produce eggs. It's only the females who can, produce eggs. So they are of no use to the industry. And it's same with the dairy industry. The male calves who are born to their mothers, they are just disposed of. They are sent off to slaughter, or they're just killed, or they're just left to die. I've been to so many dairy farms, and I've seen that with my own eyes. I just entered into this dairy farm, and I saw a dead calf lying in the very front, and no one is bothered because it's of no use to the dairy industry. They want to make profit. They want to just take the milk and sell it off. They have, honestly, animal welfare is just not given that importance in any of these industries, because it's all about profit. So so they'll just make use of any procedure by which they can increase their profits. So yeah, and in the egg industries, these baby chicks, these male chicks who are born, are either crushed to death or just burnt alive, or just drowned to death and crushed to death and then fed to their mothers. So it's such a horrible cycle, such a horrible procedure which takes place in these egg industries. It's just really very heartbreaking. And Rex was rescued. He's a rescued baby. He was rescued from a similar facility, from an egg facility, and otherwise he would have been just crushed to death and fed to his mother only. And it's such a sad state of affairs. So yeah, he was rescued and he's just now thriving. And when we are usually just exposed to dogs and cats, we are not exposed to the personalities which other animals equally have, and how they express themselves and how similar they are to dogs and cats. So yeah, and so baby chicks purr just like cats purr. Baby chicks also purr while sleeping. So it's such a, yeah, it's really nice, it's really cute, and you just get connected with them and you learn, you understand how different they are and how unique a personality they have, just like you or me and any other person, any other living being, sentient being would have. So yeah, that's about it. And if you need any help, any of you can get connected with me. I'll be very happy to share any resource I can. I have a link, I'll share that, and in that link there are many other links connected regarding your resources or any documentary you would like to watch, which will enhance your knowledge about the impact of animal products, production of animal products on the environment, or also on our economic situation as a country. How shifting to a plant-based diet will also help in elevating the economic situation of our nation, India. So that's also a factor. So it's just it's such a small step, but the impact is so large. You actually feel that you are actually doing something, for the environment, for the animals, and for your health. It's such a win-win situation in all the aspects. You are helping yourself, you are helping the animals, and you are helping the environment. So it's a great trio, and I encourage everyone to shift to a plant-based diet. Not just diet, but refrain from any sort of animal product or animal-based service, like riding animals or wearing animals. It's a vicious cycle. Animals are just exploited, killed. They are only used for profit. Their welfare is of no concern to these profit-making industries. So instead of contributing to these industries, instead of paying these industries to abuse these animals, why not take a conscious approach? Why not get conscious and stop our contribution to these industries, to consciously contributing, paying these industries to harm these animals. So
Right.
yeah, that's about it. And I
It's
encourage
amazing.
everyone.
It's amazing to not see you not just being a vegan and following a vegan lifestyle, but along with that, just educating people as much as you can, and you're jumping at every opportunity. It's very, very inspiring, and it's just
Thank
so.
you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, I agree too. Malab, it's like it's truly inspiring to hear that from even a single form of activism, all this has emerged.
Yeah.
So we started going vegan, and you end up working for all the different types of activism, the animal rights, and all of it's related, and so much of it's misunderstood. I believe you highlighted the point of economic welfare, and so much of it's misunderstood that if you don't do meat, you will not be able to thrive as an economy in this and that.
No,
And that,
absolutely not. Yeah, I get. It's absolutely, yeah. In fact, shifting to a plant-based agriculture will help our environment and help our country on an economic basis as well.
So I was just looking at your Instagram feed from the past, and I came across this post, a story which you highlighted, that a guy in Syria came and turned vegan overnight just based on that lactose intolerance story. The story of the milk and all the crimes behind it. Milk is the silent killer, and as we said, that we don't even know it's killing so many animals.
Right. So I was in IIT Delhi. I was doing outreach, vegan outreach only, and there I met this guy from Syria. And he was very kind, a very gentleman, and we had a word over. I just introduced him about veganism and animal rights, and he was so open to it, and he was so inspired. He was like, he started sharing with me his ideas how he can go back to Syria and begin an animal rights organization of his own, animal welfare organization of his own. So it was really inspiring. Like you were just doing something, and you don't know how long your or how vast your impact can be. You are just doing a small thing, and your impact can be huge. Someone can get inspired from you and do something bigger. about that same issue. So he was very kind and he was very open to the idea about it. And I'm not sure if he turned vegan overnight, but he really did seem open to the idea. Otherwise, I don't think he would have, even came up with this thought of opening an animal rights organization of his own back in his own country. So yeah, so I've actually talked to a lot of people from different backgrounds, and it's always such a bliss to hear their perspective or how they relate to it in some or the other way, to animal welfare, to health, to environment, and just get inspired to make that switch. If not overnight, but at least just get this idea that okay, now I have to make this switch, using resources or within this period of time, within a week or within 2 weeks. Yeah, that's it. And never don't feel, if you are not able to get hold of any resource, don't feel alone. There are so many resources. You can get in touch with me. I'll get connect you with someone who will be maybe able to guide you better than me, or anyone. People are vegans around you will be very helpful, and they'll be very happy to help you in any way. So I encourage you all to go vegan, like completely go vegan.
Yeah, sure. Sarvani, do you have anything for Kuhu that you would like to ask?
Oh yeah. So first of all, ma'am, I deeply resonated with what you said about the effects of turning into a vegan, because I've also been for almost 2 years now, and the whole change in your energy and just your happiness, your mood is it's amazing. Like it's magic. It does stuff to you.
Thank you so much.
For that, I want to ask you, because when I'm vegan as well, like I did face some stuff from my family, like not my direct family, but from my older relatives, maybe grandparents back at home. So I want to ask if maybe anything like you experienced, or how was your family dealing with the fact that you've turned vegan, or how did they react when you told them that you're making this change?
Yeah, so fortunately, my family was very open to this idea of turning vegan, at least my sister and my mother. And the thing is that I usually do the cooking at home. So the kitchen is in my hands. So everyone is going to eat what I'm going to cook or what I'm going to buy. So that's an added advantage. But I understand the struggles of other folks who might struggle, going vegan in their households, because parents might not, agree to it, to agree to the idea, or might not cook vegan food for you. So in that case, what you can do is, see, it's all about doing the best you can. If in a situation if you are stuck in such a situation where you have absolutely no way to go vegan, for example, parents are not allowing, then maybe in your home you are having to eat certain animal products. But outside, whenever you are outside, whenever you are with your friends, or whenever you are by your own self, you can consume vegan foods, you can consume plant-based foods, you can practice veganism. So it's all about doing the best you can. I mean, none of us is perfect in any way, in any sense. It's all about doing the best we can. You might face certain situations where you'll be like, oh no, I mean, I have no way to consume anything vegan, or I can't practice veganism in such a situation, and you've tried your best, but you're not able to just implement that. It's fine, it's absolutely fine. Don't beat yourself up. You'll be absolutely vegan anyhow. You're still vegan in any case, because you're trying your best to eliminate animal products, or eliminate non-veganism from your lifestyle. So at home, usually you might try to persuade your parents by just sitting with them, or watching some documentaries, or maybe just try to show them certain videos of animal violence, where animals are being abused for a certain product. For example, I told you about Deadly Dairy, which it's on YouTube. And just sit with them and just talk to them. All the resources which Dr. Rupa shared, you can go through them and just see if anything you can make use of it, and show to your parents as well. So yeah, just try to work around it as much as you can. It's about doing the best you can. So yeah, that is it. I mean, if at home, due to certain reason, you are under the pressure of your parents, you're not able to practice veganism, it's absolutely fine, as long as you are practicing veganism when you are by your own self. For example, when you are in college, so you are eating something in the canteen, you are only eating plant-based, or you're not buying anything made of leather or silk or wool or fur. So yeah, it's just about doing the best you can. It's not like yeah, vegan nahi rahoge, you are still vegan, don't worry. It's just that you are just trying your best to hold on to that lifestyle.
Right. And I feel like family does understand, because my parents were okay with it. Right. And over time, they were really proud of me. So when they met other people, oh, this, my daughter's vegan, and other people would be like, oh, what's a vegan? And they would start.
Yeah, right.
So, people, they do come around. They do understand that you are doing good, and totally agree with whatever you said.
Right, and just keep sharing videos with your family groups. Maybe what I do is once in a while I just keep sneaking some videos in the family groups, hoping that someone will pay attention to it. And surprisingly, some of my family members did pay attention to it, and they messaged me privately that we were so we are so shocked that this happens, and so we are so glad that you're sharing this information. We have made this change. So you just keep doing your work. You don't know how many people you inspire in your journey. You don't focus on how many people you're able to turn vegan. Just do your work with passion, with the same passion and same dedication. Your energy, your enthusiasm will automatically inspire people around you to take that leap of turning plant-based or turning vegan. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was truly amazing to have you here and really inspirational. And I'm sure you've inspired a lot of people in the audience. You even have a fan in the chat box who wanted to get in touch with you. So
sure, I'm absolutely available. Yeah.
Great to have you here, ma'am. It was truly an amazing experience. And Ayush, do you want to say anything else?
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to give a huge shout out to the audience and all the entire organizing team, all our guests, Dr. GV, Dr. Rupa, Kuhu, everybody who's been with us for the last 4 days for making this conference such a success. I would like to move on to proposing the vote of thanks for the event, and I would like Sarvani to just first propose the vote of thanks, and then I'll do it on the behalf of TOE.
Right. So everyone, thank you so much for joining in. We truly hope that this conference was helpful to you, and it helped you learn more about what is the meat and dairy industry, what goes into unsustainable agriculture, and fisheries, and all the topics that we had covered in the past 2 to 3 days. And we truly hope that it has helped you learn more and make necessary changes if you wish to. And we truly thank you so much for joining in, for participating actively in the polls, and being such loyal, wonderful audience. And obviously a big thanks to all of the wonderful panel that we had. Every single speaker was so phenomenal, so amazing, so inspirational, and I myself learned so much. So I can only imagine how much the audience must have learned in these 3 days. So on behalf of Swadhyaya, a big thank you to, again, Tears of Earth for this collaboration, and we're just so happy to have conducted this event and made such a big impact. Thank you so much. Ayush, over to you.
Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to let the audience know that the feedback form will be shared in the chat, and you can fill up your entries and give us the response, give us a feedback of how the event has been, if you want to see further events like this in the future. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel for all the 4 videos of all the 4 sessions and clear any doubts, listen to anything again, any inspiration that you want to take. Feel free. The links will be made public shortly, and all of you can go and watch for the videos, and it will stay for eternity. On the behalf of Tears of the Earth, I would like to thank our esteemed panelists, and I'd like to take full time and taking all the names and thanking them personally. Dr. Shailesh Rao for his amazing insights and is coming back again due to even after our small technical glitch to give us the entirety of his story and how he works towards changing people and creating a totally green vegan world by 2026. Mr. Rituraj Fukan for his amazing insights on how dairy has been the silent killer in the industry. Followed by today morning, Mr. Vignesh, and then in this session for the amazing and wholesome insight on agriculture and diet, Dr. Rupa and Dr. J.V. Ramanjanelu. Sir and ma'am, it was truly an honor for us to host you on this conference during these 4 days, and we have sure learned a lot. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank all 4 of our we call them green activists. Ayan, we had Shamli, we had Kuhu today, and we had in the morning we had Dr. Vijay Joshi, who could spare their time on a Sunday and on a weekend to be with us and share their valuable insights and guide us toward and push us towards being vegan. Surely, Kuhu ma'am, after your today's session, we have it's a step, it's a push that will take us a long way in conducting and changing to a plant-based diet and conducting further events in future to increase an outreach for the concept. We'd love to have all of you in future if an opportunity arises to collaborate further and reach out to a larger audience, to a greater audience with a greater message of kindness to all. I would also like to take this moment to thank Swadhyay for the collaboration and all the support for conducting this event. Savani, thank you so much for taking part and helping us do this event. Your insights and the team's effort has surely paid off. I believe the event is a huge success, and all of this is all because of the joint effort. In the end, I would always like to thank the audience for being such a sweetheart and being a part of this 4-day-long journey, for the people who turning up and sit and listen to us for a whole 2 hours today in the night just before dinner. And last but not the least, I would like to thank the entire organizing committee of Tears of the Earth, TCS, Sarani ma'am, Vanshika, Rumit sir, Avnish, and all of those people who have worked behind the screens with us, Neda and Swarnika, Chavi from Swadhyay Youth Organization, for making this event a huge success. Kudos to the team for such a beautiful and such a successful event. And I would like to inform the audience that the event is not ended yet. It's just a switch. It's a one-way switch and it'll stay on forever. Be sure to be tuned in with us for a quiz that we'll do next week, to not say to trust your knowledge or to trust your insights, but to surely know that our work has left an impact on you. The quiz will be on either the 2nd or the 3rd to commemorate Gandhiji's vision of Swachhata in terms of a cleaner diet as well. And we look forward to having you for further collaborations. And all those people who are interested can reach us out on the TOE TCS Instagram page, or can reach out to me personally, as my contact is on the group, and we can further talk further and collaborate. And I'll not take much of your time. It's already 2 hours, and I believe that on behalf of TOE and Swadhyay, we would call a curtain to these events, and we'll be happy to see you in future collaborating with us in the future events. So on behalf of the entire organizing team, thank you for attending. Good night.